Nicholasville man is now facing animal cruelty charges after police say that he starved his small puppy.
Approaching a deadline set by a federal judge, hear from the Rowan County Clerk's attorneys as the office continues to refuse to issue marriage licenses.
And it was another milestone today for relations between Cuba and the United States. More on Secretary of State John Kerry's call for democracy.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News at 5.
Just days after investigators offered a reward, the owner of a puppy found starved and abandoned in Jessamine County faces charges.
Monday, we told you how Jessamine County Animal Control stepped up efforts to track down the owner. Today, they charged Eugene Floyd with animal cruelty. WKYT's Phil Pendleton is in Jessamine County with our top story at 5.
This small puppy that does not have a name or really even a breed, they say they don't know really what kind of dog it is. It was found severely malnourished, actually starving. And just to give you an idea of how bad this dog was, when they found it, it only weighed about 10 pounds. Now it's more than 20 pounds in weight.
From our examinations from a veterinarian's office, they did determine that it had not had food for quite some time for it to get in that condition.
And Cassidy says Eugene Gino Floyd of Longview Drive in Nicholasville is the man who put the dog in that condition. An officer who interviewed him said Floyd simply said he got too busy to give the dog food.
We filed the charges with Jessamine County District Court, and a district judge will decide whether it's an arrest warrant or a subpoena.
Now, Eugene Gino Floyd again only faces a misdemeanor. He could face up to a year in a county jail or a $500 fine if he's found guilty of these alleged offenses. In Jessamine County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
We tried several times to reach Eugene Floyd to talk to him about the allegations, but we were told he's not available. Rowan County Clerk Kim Davis returned to work today, but is still not following a judge's orders. The clerk's office says it will not issue marriage licenses until the appeal process is resolved. Attorneys for Davis want to stay on the injunction ordering her to issue marriage licenses. And as Garrett Weimer tells us, the deadline to file that response was today.
Rowan County Clerk Kim Davis was back at work today, but the office is still not issuing marriage licenses. This afternoon, I talked to her attorneys about their plan as a deadline from a federal judge approached. Employees inside the clerk's office say they weren't aware of anyone coming to try to get a license today. Still, protesters with signs lined the street outside the courthouse yet again.
We'll be out here till it's resolved. We will be out here showing our support and demanding that the law be followed.
Kim Davis was back in her office after being out yesterday, but she didn't want to talk. Her attorneys faced a deadline of the end of the day to file a response after asking a judge to stay the injunction requiring Davis to issue licenses.
We don't believe that that Kim Davis has acted in a contemptible way. She's gone back to Judge Bunning and requested him to stay the order to give her appeal an opportunity to be decided. We think she's acted reasonably, and we're willing to defend that decision she's made.
Ganem says if the judge denies their request for a stay, then they'll take it on an emergency basis to the 6th District Court of Appeals. In Rowan County, Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
Davis's attorneys originally had until Monday to file their response. The deadline was moved after the plaintiffs in the suit filed their response a day early.
A man deputies say shot and killed his girlfriend says he is sorry he did it. Deputies say that Isaiah Stidham shot 32-year-old Sherry Collins yesterday in the Big Creek community of Clay County. They say he also faked his own stabbing. Stidham talked to our sister station, WYMT, and said the incident began as a fight at her parents' house. He says that when he went home, she followed him.
Then she put her hand behind her back like she was reaching in her back pocket. Then she just lunged in. Before I could even think or react, my body acted on its own, and I had shot her twice.
Stidham is scheduled to be back in court for his arraignment on Monday. Well, summer-like weather's returning for the weekend. We're tracking warmer temperatures and some humidity.
Feel more like normal. Meteorologist Jim Caldwell has an early look at the forecast. The weekend looks good, Jim.
I mean, overall it does, because this isn't the oppressive high humidity levels that just knock you in the face when you open the door. It's normal for this time of year to see some of those start to creep back up. Temperatures have also tried to creep up a little bit today. We're at 84 degrees right now in Lexington, but you're going to notice pockets of more 70s and low 80s are also out there as well. 79 right now in Somerset, 84 in London, 81 in Jackson, and 81 out toward Prestonsburg. So very common to see those low 80s or upper 70s. A little more active to our south and east as we expected yesterday. This would be the primary zone of formation. Today it shows that indeed it is around the city of Harlan, picking up on a little thunder shower with one little streak of lightning in the past 15 minutes with some heavier rain now starting to sweep through that area. As we look ahead to our 24-hour planner, mainly dry at 8 o'clock. You've got a few of those lingering showers, thunder showers to our south and east, 78 or so. By 11 o'clock, mostly clear, 70 degrees. A good start to your Saturday morning into the weekend. 81 degrees by noontime, and then we're in the mid-80s again tomorrow with a small chance of a stray shower or a thunderstorm. Again, trying to roll into the area. We'll break this down and track it hour by hour coming up in just a few minutes.
Thanks, Jim. The U.S. and Cuba took another step today toward normalized relations. The U.S. reopened its embassy in Havana.
But despite the new policies, differences remain between the two countries. As Craig Boswell tells us, there is opposition to the Obama administration's attitudes towards Cuba.
Marines carefully unfurled the American flag and then hoisted it high above the U.S. Embassy in Cuba for the first time since 1961. Secretary of State John Kerry met with Cuba's foreign minister and acknowledged there are still many differences between the two countries, but he says the policies of the past weren't working.
Over 54 years, we had a policy that was isolating us, not changing the world.
Cuba's foreign minister vigorously defended his country's human rights record, but critics say the Cuban government continues to suppress dissidents, and opening up Cuba to trade and tourism won't change that.
The notion that the Cuban people will be allowed freedom of speech and freedom of information now that President Obama has made concessions to the very government denying them these rights is complete fiction.
The Cuban government says America needs to lift the trade embargo, which restricts tourism and business with Cuba. Eric Hirschberg with the Center for Latin American and Latino Studies says the embargo issue should be resolved.
It will impede the ability of people in both Cuba and the United States to take full advantage of the diplomatic opening.
Only Congress can lift the trade embargo that limits tourism and business with Cuba, and that appears unlikely to happen anytime soon. Craig Boswell, CBS News, Washington.
It could be a while before the U.S. sends an ambassador to its new embassy in Cuba. Congress is also vowing to block the nomination of whomever President Obama picks to fill the post.
Deputies say a woman caring for 2 children now faces charges. Our County by County coverage at 5 begins in Whitley County. That's where deputies arrested Lori Cornett earlier this week. They say she fired 2 shots at 2 children at a home on Skaggs Branch Road while she was caring for them. Deputies say when they got to the home, she was under the influence and holding a loaded and cocked pistol. The children are now in the custody of another family member. In Campbell County, attorneys for a convicted killer will try to have her declared a victim of domestic violence. Shayna Hubers was found guilty this year in the death of her boyfriend, Ryan Poston. If she's declared a victim of domestic violence, she would be eligible for parole in 8 years instead of 20. In Madison County, Richmond police are looking for a couple they say shoplifted from several stores. Police say Jordan Cunnigan and Joshua Robinson went to the Walmart in Richmond, and when they were leaving, someone asked them for a receipt. Police say the couple ran out of the store and drove off in a white or silver small 4-door vehicle with a TV. Police say the pair also stole a computer from a Walmart in Berea.
Keep up with the latest news on WKYT.com. Join the conversation on Twitter and become a part of the WKYT Facebook family.
An amazing story of survival following the deadly explosions in China. Today, rescuers pulled a firefighter out of the rubble. Officials say the 19-year-old firefighter was trapped in the debris for 32 hours. China's state broadcaster said he received treatment for burns, smoke inhalation, and an injured leg.
I think it's a strong will which helped him to hold on. When talking with him, I could feel his strong inner power. And we also kept pepping him up, urging him to hold on and telling him the ambulance was arriving.
More than 50 people have died in the explosions. More than 700 were injured. Temporary shelters are set up for hundreds of people who lost their homes in the explosions. U.S. officials say 2 emails on Hillary Clinton's private server that an auditor deemed top secret include a discussion of a news article detailing a U.S. drone operation. There's also a separate conversation that could point back to highly classified material in an improper manner or could reflect information collected independently. This could have political implications for Clinton's bid for president. This week, she agreed to turn over to the FBI the private server she used as Secretary of State.
The University of Texas is moving a statue of Confederate President Jefferson Davis away from the center of campus. The century-old Davis statue had been targeted by vandals and had come under increasing criticism as a symbol of racism. In Kentucky, the debate continues about whether to remove the Jefferson Davis statue from the Capitol Rotunda in Frankfort. State government and businesses around the country have removed Confederate symbols following the mass shootings at a black church in Charleston, South Carolina.
A man convicted of planning a massive house explosion that killed 2 people will spend the rest of his life in prison. A judge sentenced Mark Leonard to life in prison without parole. The investigation revealed in 2012, Leonard turned an Indiana house into a bomb to trigger a natural gas explosion at his then-girlfriend's home to collect $300,000 in insurance. A jury convicted Leonard last month.
Security is being beefed up at theaters around the country this weekend for the opening of the new movie Straight Outta Compton. The LAPD says it will have additional patrols due to the recent theater attacks nationwide, the possibility of gang activity, and continuing racial tensions across the country. Police violence also plays a significant role in the plot of the film about the rap group NWA. Universal Pictures says it will help pick up the tab for the extra security. Straight Outta Compton hits theaters today.
It's time for better living, health, education, and consumer news that impacts your life. Summer is winding down, and allergy experts want you to start thinking about fall allergies. Brian Webb has more on what you need to know as the season approaches.
Danny Demetriou suffers from seasonal allergies all year round, including the fall.
It is sneezing, runny nose, sore throat, itchiness everywhere. There have actually been times when I've been bedbound if I didn't have medication.
The American College of Allergy, Asthma, and Immunology says if you suffer from ragweed allergy like Danny, now is a critical time to start taking your medications, such as antihistamines, nasal sprays, and eye drops.
People wait too long, and they wait until they're very symptomatic, and they start taking medicines, but you're kind of behind the 8 ball because you're trying to catch up.
Ragweed season typically starts in August and lasts into September and October. Experts say most people who are allergic to spring plants also react to ragweed.
It turns out that, with global warming and just climate changes, the allergy season is now longer.
Danny takes over-the-counter medications, but that hasn't been enough to keep her allergies in check. She also started getting allergy shots 3 months ago.
It's great. I actually think that they've controlled my symptoms. There's just no point in suffering.
Experts also recommend continuing medications for a few weeks after the first frost because ragweed pollen can linger even if it's not in the air. Brian Webb for CBS News, New York.
Experts suggest keeping your windows closed to reduce your exposure. People should also change clothes when they come in from outside and rinse off if they can. Britax is recalling more than 200,000 child car seats. The company says harness adjuster buttons may stick and cause shoulder straps to loosen. The recall includes several models of its Advocate, Boulevard, and Marathon click-tight car seats between August 2014 and July of this year. Britax announced today it will notify customers and send them a lubricant that can be applied to the harness to fix the problem.